So, with week 2 of college football upon us, there are several games we need to take a look at. One such game being Oklahoma versus Kent State, because much like last week's game for the Oklahoma Sooners, this is a game that, so long as they show up ready to handle business, they should come out victorious with fairly little resistance. However, that doesn't mean there aren't takeaways and things that I'm going to be watching within this game. Before we can get to what those are, y'all know the drill. I need to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, Y for yes, N for no. Do you believe we see another fast start out of the Oklahoma Sooners? And let me know what you're thinking. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoyed this content, like and comment down below, as those interactions, though seemingly small, are massive to content creators such as myself. But having said all that, let's jump right into this, because this is a game that I think, so long as Oklahoma is ready, and I don't expect for them not to be ready, especially with Brent Venables at the helm, they're going to take this win with little to no resistance. However, there are some things that I think we need to watch, and we need to break those down. First and foremost, Kent State comes into this game 0-1, having taken on the Washington Huskies last week in a game where Washington's offense had a lot of positive things around it. Quarterback Michael Penix Jr. for the Huskies threw for 349 yards and 4 touchdowns, and they were able to have a lot of successful areas in that game, both offensively and defensively. Because on the defensive side of the ball, they severely limited Kent State's passing attack to under 200 yards and the rushing attack to under 150 yards. But on top of that, the most compelling thing I think the Washington Huskies were able to do was generate 3 interceptions out of that game. So that's one thing I'm going to be looking for, is are the Oklahoma Sooners going to be able to generate the turnovers? Because we know Brent Venables' defense is a stout, hard-nosed defense. The tackling has already vastly improved, and we only have a 1-game sample size. But that defense last week was playing fast. They were playing more inspired than any time I saw them play last year, and I think that's going to be conducive to success down the stretch. But if they can start getting these turnovers, this is going to be a really fun defense to watch as they continue to grow. I think this is a great opportunity, a great tune-up game before Nebraska and before the conference schedule that Oklahoma will have in front of them, for them to continue ironing out all of the new, because Oklahoma still has so much new, and they're still ironing some things out. And speaking of something that I think should be ironed out more during this game, it's something we've talked about a few times throughout the week, both in the Oklahoma video and the post-game analysis from the UTEP game and the live streams. And that was the deep ball. Because Dillon Gabriel had some opportunities for some major plays during UTEP, but the deep ball was just slightly off, something I wasn't super surprised by. Look, the deep ball is something in college football that once you get acclimated to it, you can hit it. But whenever you're in a situation like Dillon Gabriel, where you have so much new around you, it is something that's going to take some time to develop. And yes, you can practice the deep ball during spring, during fall, and during scrimmages. But inevitably, when you get in front of an opponent that you don't see all the time, they're going to do things differently, even if slightly so. And those differences can make the world of impact. So with Nebraska on the horizon, with the Big 12 conference play on the horizon, I think this is a great opportunity for Oklahoma to continue ironing out that deep ball, because it's a live action game. You don't get to see Kent State every week. They are going to do things differently than you're accustomed to, which you see in practice. And because of that, I think this is a great opportunity to continue ironing out that deep ball, something that I have full faith will come about for the Oklahoma Sooners offense. On top of that, what else could I look for from the offense? The only other thing on the offense that I would say I'd be looking for is improved offensive line play, but I would even put an asterisk by that. And the reason I would put an asterisk by that is, yes, Oklahoma's offensive line versus UTEP left a little bit to be desired, but at the same time, whenever you have a projected starter in Wanye Morris not there, and it's an offensive line that's in game 1, it's kind of hard to say that, oh, well, that's a major concern. Now, if we get into week 4, week 5, and these problems still persist, we'll circle back to this. But as of right now, I think first and foremost, I've said this a few times over the last week. If you've watched my content for a while, you'll know usually week to week there's a different theme, and you'll hear me repeat these themes in various videos. And the theme of week 1 is, if you're looking for perfection in week 1, you're probably looking for the wrong thing. And I think that same argument, that same logic carries over to the Oklahoma offensive line, especially in a situation where a projected starter was not there. But that doesn't mean that you don't look for more assuredness from the offensive offensive line in week 2, even if Wanye Morris was suspended the first 2 games and isn't going to be back this week either. I think you still look for more progress on that offensive line, but I think the real area where we judge this offensive line is once Wanye Morris comes back and they get a few games with the entirety of that line as they were projected to be. That, I think, is going to give us a clearer indication as to the status of this offensive line, but inevitably, it is going to be something I'm looking at. Outside of that, I mean, we can talk about several different things. The defensive front for Oklahoma versus UTEP was something that I was very impressed by. I'd look for more of that, especially along those edges. I mean, Reggie Grimes had himself a coming out party, and it was really fun to watch, so it's going to be interesting to see how he builds off of that in week 2, but there are several different names we could point to and talk about, right? There are several different names that could have a big game this weekend, and so it's going to be interesting to see how it all comes together. Inevitably, this is a game that Oklahoma should cruise through, but I think this is a great opportunity. You're given a tune-up game, and yes, there is something great to be said about being able to play a Utah such as Florida did, because week 1, you're giving such a real indication as to who your team is, and you've already faced real adversity. Though Oklahoma may not have faced adversity, they are allowing themselves in a year where there is so much new, from coaches to transfers, what have you, some time to have tune-up games before they play a rival, an old rival, I should say, in the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who, by the way, have nothing to lose at this point, and a dangerous opponent is one that has absolutely nothing to lose and is going to throw the kitchen sink at you. Not to say I think Oklahoma is going to lose that game, but you get my point in bringing that up. What better way to prepare for Nebraska than by continuing to evolve your passing game, your defense, all aspects of your team in this game right here, because this is a great opportunity as a tune-up game before you get into the meat of your schedule. I'm super interested in hearing from Oklahoma fans. I'm sorry this didn't go longer, but as many of you probably know, I currently have COVID, so it's been very hard for me to film, and even this video right here, I had to stop several times and take a little bit of a break. So hopefully later today, I'll be able to have some more videos out, but if not, look for a major content dump tomorrow, because I've been sitting in this house losing my mind the past few days. So hop down in the comments, let me know what you're looking for, and let me know some names you're watching to have a major performance in week 2. That's it. See ya.